aren't able to retain everything that we're sharing. And so it's important when we really want things to stick for us to make experiences out of those. Now, this is Let's continue discussing engagement. John Dewey said it best: all genuine learning comes from experience. And when we experience a lesson, we are more likely to remember it. It's because of this that there are many ways to connect in our experience. When we're making connections in our learning, we are more likely to remember it, because when we're engaged and really participating and taking in the information, it's more likely to stick. Throughout my own schooling experience, I really got good at memorizing because that's what counted. It was important to memorize multiplication facts in order to score well on the test. It was important to remember formulas so that you'd be able to do well. But a lot of that time when I was memorizing facts or historical figures and information about them, I can't remember what those tests said, and I can't remember the information because I was spending time just quickly remembering it and not storing it in my long-term memory. And that's because it wasn't engaging. I didn't have anything to connect that learning to, so it didn't stick. And of course, learning takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of review and repetition in order for that to stick and be memorable. And that's something that our students experience too. They aren't able to retain everything that we're sharing. And so it's important when we really want things to stick for us to make experiences out of those. Now, this isn't the only way to create engagement. Obviously, there's lots of great ways, but this is an important part of creating experiences so that students can remember what it is that you're teaching and so that they are actually learning. Think about the science fair, the art and symmetry lesson, or that time when the lesson took place outside. Just adding novelty, doing something a little bit different can create engagement. It can pique students' curiosity, and curiosity is so important when you want students to learn. They kind of move from just being a sponge and absorbing everything to, what is this? And that just creates something in our brains that allows us to be more interested in what's going to be shared. So novelty is really great. Just little things every now and then. You don't want to do it every single time because then it's not novel anymore. You want to be able to just do things every now and then and sprinkle it in. So I wanted to share some big and small ways to transform learning in your classroom into experiences. And here are a few places to start. Of course, I'd absolutely love to pull apart every single standard and be like, here are a few opportunities or ways that you can do this. And maybe that's in my future to do that, because I do love standards and making them engaging for students. But there are other ways to do engagement. And I think what's more important is just recognizing how to encourage engagement versus pulling apart every single standard. However, I'd still love to do that. So let's talk frequency. Again, we're going back to that novelty. So you can't do this every single time and you don't want to burn out on it. While I love thematic classrooms and just classrooms where you walk in and you're now transported and being underwater or in outer space or in another land. Those are amazing, but they take a lot of time and a lot of money. So I would just shoot for, if you're starting off right away or you want to just tweak, the school's about 9 to 10 months. So pick one time a month, find a lesson and add a little novelty, do something different. You can use some of these ideas, or maybe it will spur on something that you're interested in as well. A great place to start, like where you would do this, is either at the beginning of a lesson or maybe at the end. So at the beginning of, let's say you're teaching a historical unit, a time period, maybe this is where you transform something. You play some music from back then, or you share a story of somebody. And you can, right, there's so many things right now. You could record it, you could dress up as time character and share out a story. But those are a few places to do it at the beginning. If you want to do it at the end, kind of like a culminating project, or maybe you're studying about animals and habitats, you could have all your students bring in a stuffed animal and they could share about which habitat the stuffed animal would go in, right? That could be at the beginning or end. So these are just like ideas. Think about what kids love to do that maybe breaks those rules. They're not really rules, but we don't bring stuffed animals to school every day, or we don't wear hats every day, or we don't change our name to something different. But maybe that's just an opportunity. It's quick, it's easy, and it can be fun. It's something that the kids are going to look forward to. And when you do something that breaks those rules, like I'm saying, taking learning outside, turning the lights off, right? They're not real rules, but they're just not norms that we do. That's kind of the novelty of it. That's when students are like, wow, they did something different. And it creates memories, and memories stay longer than just those quick review games or opportunities. So that's what you're kind of shooting for. Of course, I could go on and on about all different ways to take a lesson and add a little spice to it and make it more engaging for students. But hopefully this just spurs on a little bit to transform our learning for our students into experiences. Again, you don't have to do this all the time. It's just an opportunity, and shoot for once a month, maybe at the beginning of a lesson or a unit, or at the end. Feel free to like, share, or subscribe. I'm constantly coming out with different ideas. I've shared my Quiet Magic of Classroom series, classroom management series, and I'll be continuing to share about engagement, how to support our students so that they're successful. I hope you will join me in this, and feel free to share a comment below. I love creating community and help encourage you. So with that, I'll see you at the next one.